Don't care about it right now. Software. Alright. Um. Alright, are we here? Is this it, boys? Dun 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 dun. Oh. What am I doing? Oh, Jesus. Oh. Dude. Yeah, I'm currently trying to get to my video so I can see it. What am I doing? From Jesus. Oh. Perspective I need to. Dude. Well, we'll get there soon. Yeah, I'm currently trying to get to my video so I can see it. What am I doing? From Jesus. Oh. Perspective I need to. Dude. Well, we'll get there soon. Yeah, I'm currently trying to get to my video so I can see it. What am I doing? Just do that for a moment. Well, I just realized if I'm watching my own video, it means everyone else can't. What the hell am I doing? Oh boy. I just realized if video. So, okay. Here's what I will means everyone else can't. What the hell am I doing? Is I've been on a bit of a hiatus. Oh boy. I just realized reason. Video. So it's just what happened. I've been writing some things. I've been doing a bit. I also got laid off, so I've been trying to find a new job. But in any case, I wanted to bring some premium content since something I do quite often. Now, I don't know what any of y'all's kind of like opinion on religion is, whether you think it's toxic, a controlling thing, or whether you praise the Lord. But I think it's just something. I do some things I call theological proofs, where I try to prove something using the logic of either the Bible or whatever. And something I think I even ran across as a problem today was comparing Jesus to a demigod, right? Or the Bible. In the past, I've come across comparing the Bible to a mythology book. But I wanted to look at a couple things, right? So, now, as a disclaimer, I don't mean to step on anybody's religion. You can definitely think I am wrong. I am just a controlling, Bible-hating gay liberal. You could do that. I don't care. I don't personally care about many people's opinions. However, I'm just trying to make content, okay? Now, you could also think, you're right. I'm going to think that as well. Don't. This is just my opinion. It's not for you to take as your own. It's for you to listen to and make possibly your own conclusion. Alright? Let's get that out of the way. Now let me get into the content. Okay. So, you could look at the Bible. Any copy will do. Any copy of the Catholic and Christian Bible describes the birth of Jesus. Now, I don't know the exact reasons why. I think God just thought the world was becoming a little too sinful, so he concocted the plan to birth Jesus. So the nativity of Jesus kind of it's very not 2020 friendly. Without Mary's consent, God says, "All right, pregnant," and now here's something I came up when I was talking to my barber this morning. I'm like, so yeah, Jesus' birth kind of sounds like a demigod birth. She's like, what are you talking about? And if you ask her, ask me, oh, is she a Karen? I'm like, no, not really. Not a Karen. I can assure you that. But Jesus, he was born with his mom still being a virgin. Which, if some of you don't know about what that entails, it means that she defied biology. Now, if mythological births don't define biology, I don't know it doesn't. But she even from the conception of Jesus and carrying Jesus to term, she was a virgin the whole time. Now, I wanted to compare this to the birth of a guy named Dionysus. Now, obviously, I can't go to the actual thing because, it's a Greek statue. Yeah, I am just really considering that YouTube thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna not have to. So I'll give you the rundown of, Dionysus' birth. Dionysus, there's more before his conception, depending on how you look at it, but in some of the simplest things, Zeus fell in love with a woman, as he always does. There tends to be not a creature under the sun. Zeus doesn't want to bang, but he falls in love with this woman. I don't remember if she's a queen or not, but he does it by sliding into her DMs, which back then meant walking up to her and writing on a clay tablet and handing it to her. True story. But he slipped into those DMs and said, "Hey, I'm Zeus." She's like, "Oh my god, you're such a legend, you make me wet." Or something to that effect. Because soon enough, they were banging. And when the banging had been done, she was pregnant with a little boy named Dionysus. Now, Hera, as she usually does after Zeus sleeps with a woman, finds out and, researches an episode of Snapped to find out what to do to the poor lady who just happened to be this Zeus's, infidelity partner of the week. Now, in this particular case, she decided to trick the lady. I don't remember what her name is. Alchemy is here. Let's see. Semele, thank you, Wikipedia, for not putting so Semele was Dionysus' mother, and Hera went to Semele. He's like, "Hey, is that really Zeus? Are you just being catfished?" And she's like, So what Hera suggests that the Lady Semele does is like, why don't you ask him to show you his divine form, which was the Greek god equivalent of catfish going up to, asking the person to call them for a face call or meeting them in person. So when Zeus showed up for that fateful request. And I say fateful, and you know why. And well, at least the people who researched this before do. So Samuel's like, show me your divine form. Now, for those of you who don't know the whole Greek lore about divine forms, that is something so mind-bogglingly, beyond human comprehension, that if a mortal is to see it, they are to burn up and turn to ash. So, you can imagine how this goes down. Semele is so tricked that, of this idea, that she's like, show me your divine form, Zeus. And Zeus like, well, I'm Zeus. Like, you don't want to see that. She's like, show it to me. Show it! And Zeus gets peer pressured into doing it, even though he literally knows it will mean death. And, Semele burns up. She dies. But what survives is the womb and Dionysus. So, what Zeus does is he sticks the womb to the inner part of his thigh and carries Dionysus to the rest of term. Again, when talking about the context of mythology, a lot of things seem to be fantastical. Like, when you talk about, some other more divine births, Athena was born out of Zeus's skull by splitting it with an axe. I'm pretty sure, Phobos and Deimos were born in the backseat of a of the Greek equivalent of a Harley Davidson, which might have been a chariot. Just things seem to be so out of proportion that when you look at the context of Jesus' birth, it really does seem like a demigod birth, doesn't it? And the only reason why is, usually cultural things seem to stem into mythology. Like, in Christianity, and other Christ-believing, like, virginity is such a pure thing. So this lady, gives birth to a demigod, and don't argue that he's not, or because I personally think he is. And she gives birth to a demigod, retaining her virginity, which, okay, sounds pretty tame for all the mythological births there are in the world. Like, I just described one where a dude carried a womb on his inner thigh, attached it with super glue or something, and birthed the child. Come on, she's up your game. Now, next sort of thing I'd like to talk about is, Jesus, what he chose to do in life. So Jesus, in life, grew up a carpenter. That was his father's trade. Back then, you didn't go on YouTube or the internet. Sorry, I'm just making so many boomer-like things. No. So, back then, in way old history, you always did what your father did, because you had no one else to teach you. And that's why something like in Great Expectations, where Pip was being paid by an unknown dude to become a scholar, was so big. Because even back in the Victorian era, you did what your father did. And in Pip's case, he did, blacksmithing, because that's what his stepdad did, his uncle did. And in Jesus' case, he did what, I can't remember what Jesus' fucking dad's name. Well, obviously it's God, but no, like the guy who raised him. What's the dude's name? Yeah, this is why I'm doing it live, boys. What is his name? Joseph. Okay, thank God, Joseph. Yeah, you can tell I'm not the most versed in knowledge about the big JC and his parents. So, Joseph, where is I going with this? Live, boys, live. Oh yeah, Joseph was a carpenter, so that's what he taught Jesus. And Jesus, eventually becomes, this messianic figure, just spreading the word of God and doing miracles. Now, I don't remember exactly what was the turning point, but very similarly, Heracles of myth and legend. What he did was he was a villager, a worker in his town, which had to pay homage to a bigger Greek city. I don't remember what. I think it might have been Athens or something. But he wasn't raised by his birth mom, his birth dad. I, I I'm not certain. I like I know weird things about mythology. Like, this one dude tricked a nymph and a dude to like kill themselves because he was such a stone cold bitch. Like, there's so many weird things. Like, things that could span cultures. But who was uh, who was Heracles raised by? Even though that is the literal context of my video. Anyway, so the point of it is Heracles was a hard worker, labor dude. But then he's like, you know what? Fuck all this patronage bullshit, and decided to raise hell on the government that was transacting them. Now, after that, Heracles gets married. Hera curses him, or he just kills him in general. I think sources vary. And he has to do 12. Actually, it's supposed to be 10 originally, but then it ends up becoming 12 because Ulysses is a bastard. But really, when you're tasked with, challenging one of the strongest demigods in Greek mythology, I don't think it's that big of a deal to give him 2 extra tasks. Like, he's literally known as the god of strength and courage. It's not that big a deal. He literally has more strength than most demigods in the mythology. Like, I'm pretty sure he could beat up the giant turtle that Skyron had. But I digress. And so what he does is some of the things he does is he basically traps a giant boar. He chases down a incredibly fat, basically deer speedster. He wrangles Cerberus, the underworld guardian that has 3 heads and a snake-biting tail, and does all sorts of things. What does Jesus do? Most notably, he brings back Lazarus from the dead, which is necromancy. Don't fuck about. Second, he basically enchants a fish with infinity, so that he can feed an entire village. And he does transmutation by turning wine into water, or water into wine. So, when I was telling all this to my the poor barber lady who was cutting my hair today, she's like, "Why do you call them spells?" I'm like, okay, if you call a wizard, what does a wizard do? He basically bends reality in some way at some cost to benefit him, others, or just do something. Like alchemy. I know there's always like the law of equivalent. I don't know. In some way, you can turn coal into gold. At least in the I think Edward did it for like 5 seconds or something, or just enough to trick the dude. He was extorting, but he basically does alchemy. He does alchemy, and he does raising people from the dead. Who else does alchemy? Midas. Midas was this dude who decided to choose Pan over Apollo, and Apollo gave him ass's ears, and the ability to touch things. Oh no, wait, okay, yeah, the ass's ears thing did happen, but I think Dionysus granted him a wish. Dionysus granted him a wish, and he's like, I wish for whatever I touch to turn to gold. So he's basically, doing infinite alchemy. Who knew? But yeah, you can draw so many similarities. But I wanted to get particularly into the death of Jesus, kind of wrap it all up, because his death is very mythological. So when you talk about the death of Jesus, you got to remember everyone in the Bible is black, so you can't use it as a justification for racism. Now, sorry, very true, but not the point. What I meant to say, just cough. Um, so when you talk about the, you know, the death of Jesus, what happens is the Romans are after Jesus because they're not too keen on this dude up usurping the status quo of Roman mythology, which is Greek mythology, but with less demigod making. Now, and some other OC changes, but that happens from time to time. Now, so the Romans really didn't like this, and there's this whole drama plot where Judas betrays Jesus, and Jesus is like, I know, always knew you were gonna betray me, and Jesus is like, ugh, damn it, and that's why we have the unlucky number 13, because Judas was the 13th apostle. But anyway, so Jesus dies on the cross. He is nailed to a piece of wood, which kind of seems like a dead meat thing, because he's like, oh, like James H. Neese, like, oh, I really like when people's deaths relate to their occupation, which I know he covered the Passion of the Christ, so that I think that'd be funny to actually watch after this. But yeah, he is nailed to a cross, the carpenter death basically. And once he is dead, mind you, crucifixion is an execution method, which, bit of a tangent here. Why is the symbol of most Christian churches an execution method? Why? Oh, I don't get it. Why not choose the infinite fish thing that Jesus did as a gesture of charity, and as the symbol for a religion that praises this demigod? No. You know what we want for it's like people like 1,000 years. I was like, what's our symbol? It's like, how about the fish that Jesus used to feed a bunch of people? Nah, not good enough. And someone raised their hand. He was like smoking a cigar and beating a woman or something. It's like, how about the thing Jesus died on? And the decision maker, I don't know what his name is, like, that's the one. And then they just manufacture crosses all the time. I don't know exactly how it happened, but that's what they went with. Anyway, so Jesus dies on the cross. They take him down. They place him in a stone tomb. Now, there's this whole thing called the Shroud of Turin, or the Turin Shroud, which is supposed to have the negative image of Jesus. I don't know. But 3 days later, he basically ascends to heaven. Now, if ascending to heaven isn't casting away your mortal form, I don't know what other interpretation there is. Now, that particular sentence will have some very big meaning when I talk about the death of Heracles. Now, I've always been saying Heracles, and for those you are like, and my barbarous this morning, when you who asked, why are you saying Heracles? It's Hercules. Well, for those who you don't know, his name's Heracles in the Greek translation. Because Heracles in ancient Greek means like Hera's glory. It's supposed to be an ironic name. In any case, Hercules is that dude from Roman mythology. Yeah, I try to say it so many times without sounding so pretentious, but it's so annoying when people think it's like, no, I definitely think it's Heracles or Hercules, like my brother does. But anyway, so Heracles, when he dies, he dies from actually burning to death. See, he had his fourth wife by this time. More wives than... Place analogy here, simile. And when he died, his wife was getting tricked. Sounds like a lot of people die through deception in Greek mythology. But he was tricked, or his wife was tricked. I don't remember his wife's name. I could probably check right now. What is Heracles'? Oh, I think it was actually Megara. Was that I saw? The hell? Oh crap! I'm going through the same problem I was trying to not have. With all the dongage. What's his name? What's his? I think Megara. No, that was his first wife. Wow, the lady he killed is the one they chose for the Disney movie. Oh jeez. Which one was the one that killed him? Awesome. This is the one. Man Destroyer. Yeah, but why? She didn't destroy him, though. So, actually, this is very important. So, her name translates to Man Destroyer, which she didn't. So, Heracles died from fire, actually. He burned to death. So, she was, Heracles was being less than faithful, given some... He was basically doing the meme where the guy looks back at the other woman. That's what he was doing. So when he kills a centaur, and the centaur says to his wife, Diriana, I think that's correct. It's like, hey, take some of my blood, and that will make a love potion. Because apparently they didn't have Greek Wikipedia back then. They couldn't look it up and say, oh, centaur blood is poisonous. They just believe the word of a talking horseman. Right? And so she does, and she puts it on the inside of, Heracles' shirt. Now, centaur blood is actually poisonous. It's killed people before. And it ends up burning and searing Heracles' skin. Now, it says, oh, killing him with the poison shirt. That's not exactly how that happens. Now, this is... Some theories always vary in differ. That's just going to be the case when you have different renditions of the story. But, what happens is she, poisons shirt, he's born drunk. Now, for the man who's done so much, boasts himself so powerful, he's like, ugh, I can't take all this pain. And decides to have someone burn away his form. His mortal form. Now he picks up some random dude, I don't remember what his name was in this version. But when he's like, hey, put me on a funeral pyre and burn my ass up. Light it like the best doobie. And the guy's like, yeah, sure. So he burns Heracles' mortal corpse, even though his godly side was definitely fighting off the centaur poison. He would have lived if he had survived that. Which seems like John Kramer would have been creaming himself to test Heracles. Now, yeah, like, she didn't kill him. That wasn't the case. Or at least not in the one I personally like best. So you could definitely say, like, oh yeah, she was the one that killed him. Like, cause she poisoned his shirt. Because you're welcome to that. Like, I know some people personally believe the myth where Poseidon raped Medusa. Personally, that was kind of like a fanfic by a Roman dude. I try to keep most of my belief to the classical Greek accounts. But if you totally want to believe that, like I know someone does, I've met her personally, you're totally willing to. I don't care, it's just another version of the story. I just don't like that one personally, because some people just do renditions. Like, I think, like, Paradise Lost is some, English dude's rendition of, how Satan went to hell. It's kind of my feeling for that, but it's similar to that. But in any case, again, I digress. So in both accounts of, like, say, compare Heracles to Jesus, both cast away their mortal form and become gods, basically. Heracles, casts away his mortal form, having it being burnt, and ascends to be the god of strength and courage. And Jesus, of course, ascends, casts away his mortal form after really he came back to life and then decided to cast away his mortal form. Pfft, weird, but all right. And what he does is he goes to heaven. He basically sits at the seat of God. Which, come on, does that not sound like some of the Greek demigods ascending to Olympus? I guess this whole video was to kind of point out like some of the similarities between even Greek mythology and the Bible. You could definitely look at the Bible as just a mythology book. That's personally how I look at it. I personally identify as Christian, so you can't say I don't know what I'm talking about. I believe in God and Christ. I just believe you could definitely call it a mythology book. Like at one point, all this, talk of Heracles and Zeus, Hera, and Dionysus, this was serious shit. Kind of like how if someone decided to compare, uh, sorry, if someone decided to compare Gilgamesh to Heracles, they were like, "What? You can't do that. That's against my religion." That sort of BS. Because usually humanity's not original, at least in the terms of some of the social problems. Yeah, it was like, I remember I got in trouble, not but in a real sense of the word. Some person just left a nasty comment to a friend I knew about me calling the Bible mythology. But I think it goes both ways. You could call ancient Greek mythology a religion. You can call the Bible a mythology book. Totally okay in my book. Yeah. So leave a like in the video if you like this content. Let me know personally what you think about it. I'm always wanting to hear your remarks on it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this, and I'll try to be pumping out more content, whether it be Minecraft podcast episodes, just something random I decide I want to talk about, or maybe even just something new I have an idea for. Alright, signing off, the Kerosene Conversation.